This is day 361 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. If you'd like to sponsor an upcoming shir or more of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi, please contact me directly. It would be very greatly appreciated. Today we are doing Siman Reish Nun Beis Sivav through Yud Gimel. Vav. So you can do Erev Shabbos. You're allowed to open up the water into a garden. Then we shove the call Shabbos, and they continue to water the entire Shabbos. And irrigate the seeds. Allowed to put a thick salve on the eye. Usam shofru, which is a salve for healing. With Shabbos kol Shabbos, it gets healed the entire Shabbos. Shabbos also. Even if it's the type of thing which you can't do on Shabbos, go behind Mokum Shein Sakana. The place where there's no danger, of course. Put fragrance on the incense, which is infused by burning it under vessels. And they are become full of incense the entire day. Based on their minhag, meaning of some used to put frankincense, all sorts of other types of fragrances on fire. And they would smoke the garments. That they would have a pleasing fragrance. Put sulfur underneath vessels. The sulfur is on fire. And clay kesef, and the vessels are silver. In which there are engraved flowers and other forms, and you smoke them with the sulfur, and they become dark, and recognizable. You can see the etchings. You can even put the incense and the sulfur, even if the incense and sulfur are in a vessel. Again, the animal doesn't make this because we're not required to call our kalim to rest on Shabbos. Sorry. You're allowed to put barley into the barrel in which you're making beer, to soak them, and they soak into Shabbos. Become beer. So too with whiskey in a similar manner. You could also put the beams in the olive press on the olives. That's also to make olive oil. Another more on grapes with gas in a wine press. That's also to make wine. And the oil and wine flows into the Shabbos. It flows in the entire Shabbos. And he put the beams on top of the piles of grapes or olives right before nightfall. It's just that the oil and wine which comes out of them also Shabbos, now they'll drink them on the Shabbos. If not, there's something allowed them, goes in Hashem is the other were afraid that you might squeeze with your own hands. Shiomar, because you're going to say, also when they were in the olive press or in the wine press, they were whole right before nightfall. Shabbos, and they're squeezed on Shabbos. So what's in this? So I squeeze them by hand or by the beam. And by squeezing olives and grapes on Shabbos, there is a liability of stoning and a chatas if it's inadvertent. Therefore, if you loaded up the beams from before Shabbos, in a manner that they were already crushed before Shabbos begins, in which case, even if you, since already crushed before Shabbos begins, even if you squeeze them on Shabbos, there's no Issa because they're already crushed. And you're allowed to drink the beverages which flow from them on Shabbos. Even those Issa D'Rabbanan to continue pressing after they've been crushed. On that account, they do not decree to forbid the beverages which flow from them. That'd be that'd be like a gzeira on top of another gzeira, which we do not do. However, the Torah does not allow using these beverages on Shabbos. Only came with Shabbos unless you first crush them from Erev Shabbos. And then put the beams upon them. I'm not sure exactly what the difference is. I guess, you have to not allow the beams to crush them. You have to crush them yourself and then put the beams on. Okay? Okay, but say he's bar b'sim b'siyat Hashem b'sim shkin chafalef. Chen he's bar shah. I mean, what's the more beyond the she's to ask your Shabbos. So let's not clarify if you have to finish the process with your hands if they were crushing on Shabbos, or if not. Chen buzzer shalom and so to unripe grapes, milishah mishmah and rolled kernels of grain from the produce. If you crush them from before Shabbos, you are allowed to use the beverages to come out of them with Shabbos. If you're not crushing them before Shabbos again, you're not allowed to use the beverages to emerge them on Shabbos. Even though they come out on their home. And then there's also an Issa D'Oraisa on Shabbos. In grapes because of squeezing out the liquid. Ubitvua mishum dash. Evidently it's not because of the beverages, because the beverages is only the rabbanon, but because you are the rolled grain, you are separating the kernels from the chaff, which is dash. Shapargas of Shoni move them from the stalks. The schita ave tolot the dash, and squeezing is also a derivative of dash. Shami's bar b'siyat this will be explained much later on. Aval shari paste other fruits, vishum and garlic, shena on the mashka, which are not made for beverage purposes. Hamashka yitzem and mishabas mutza, the beverage comes out of the mishabas bristle. B'chon yon no matter what. V'yeshchol king k'moshav nisham. But Sabi argues we shall see. The Bialocha says that which the Magen Avraham says that by the grain is also this deraisa. The Achronim have had difficulty finding that prohibition, because it's already rolled, evidently, and it's already partially removed from the stalks. The Bialocha also writes that even by garlic, the beverage comes out of them as usher, unless the garlic was crushed from Erev Shabbos, because they are a little bit oimed lamashka. The beverage are some of the intention to have derived from them. Ketutim running like berries and pomegranates. Ches, allowed to put wheat and barley in a watermill, adjacent to nightfall. It's called Shabbos, and it's going to grind all of Shabbos. Then might required to allow our vessels to rest on Shabbos. It's also true of the windmill. But a mill which is run by an animal going around in a circle, also, that's forbidden. We're not allowed to have our animals work on Shabbos. Also a human mill. Also, they allowed to have your slave work for them. Because we're required to allow our slaves to rest on Shabbos. Also, it's also forbidden to do it by a daily employee. If he's not obviously not Jewish. Kabbalah's mutter, of course, on a contracting basis, is permissible because there's a chiddush in the mill. More than the other mills which you mentioned. By a mill, there is a loud noise. Because it loses Shabbos and that degrades the Shabbos. And the Gemara is a machlekes. Rova poskim command matter. Most poskim allow it. Some poskim, however, asar mills because this reason. Because it's loud. People say the mill of so and so is grinding Shabbos. And that's true anywhere where there is an inordinate noise. And that is the preferable way to approach it. But in the case where it's lost, that's primary halacha. You're also allowed to rent it out to a non-Jew. Can ask, according to those who forbid making those inordinate noise on Shabbos, how do we use pendulum clocks? According to Zeiger, Be'erev Shabbos, and makes the noise on Shabbos. Everybody knows it was wound from yesterday. Because you wind them ahead of time by the comment Sin Shin Lam and Ches. The Beer Halacha says here that Darkei Moshe says that wherever there are noig leheter, you can't protest against them. So this is a big thing nowadays. With you set up a washing machine to work before Shabbos, a dishwasher to work before Shabbos, and the main problem is avsha milsa, that there's a public loud inordinate noise. And I think nowadays the people are accustomed to knowing that these inordinate noises are or started from before Shabbos, especially if it's not so loud, then it certainly would be not a problem. And this leads also to the question of why it's also to have a television on Shabbos or radio, and that also is probably because of Hashmos Kol, and the real reason why it's also, and it's probably because it's not Shabbos-dik, it's like Daber Dovar and Uvda Dechol. But as we know, that is a very important aspect of Shabbos, that the aura of Shabbos should be intact. So therefore, even if you mount a washing machine or a dishwasher, which would be done for more Shabbos, we do not allow televisions and radios and such like. Test, and computers. If the mill is of it belongs to non-Jew, it's pashut if the Jew gives him the grain for Shabbos. The Shabbos, even non-Jew puts them in the mill on Shabbos, mutter smitzel, that I can have shake of it, because the non-Jew is doing it for himself. As long as the Jew doesn't stand by him when he's doing it, then it looks like he's aging. But if it's face the mitzvah, so she's grinding the wheat for our matzahs, you can permit him to sit a distance to observe. Basically, as long as he doesn't get involved in the activity on mashgiach kashrus. Rather, he is being mashgiach on the kashrus, on Reshim Dalet, shemishamer shelo yignov, or he's looking that he shouldn't steal. For Rabbi Shom, that we already explained this there, which from here you see, can be mashgiach in a factory on Shabbos, and Dunkin' Donuts, or whatever it is. The mashgiach is not a problem if it's necessary. And obviously, it would behoove hashgacha to have its mashgichim being yotze b'nichnas to kosher Dunkin' Donuts and such like, which is open on Shabbos from time to time, at least on Shabbos. And also here it seems that to prevent theft, also one can observe at a distance if necessary. Brackets here. I'm going to see on the Chav Shulchan like you see the rice and putting grain in a water mill. There is no Torah prohibition. Ayin Sham the Kfar Tzavcholot all called them all the Gdolim shouted them again Avraham Rabbi Yeshua the Shabbos. The diktuko ain't no diktuk moshkasam marshal sham, and the Magen Avram's inference is not a proper inference. The Chog Doilim also said his inference not of inference. Cholia los kenal das chas yishon to pass Magen Avram probably much further ratio than that, especially according to what we wrote beginning of similar the Duk. Bialacha says that all this is about where the framework of the water was open, and he put the wheat into a hopper. And then it begins after he puts them in. I see. In other words, the frame of the water wheel is not turning yet, and he puts the wheat into the hopper, and then after he puts it in, then begins grinding. I guess he starts it up, but if he opens, no, that's it. Sorry, no, it means that the water's flowing already. Water's flowing from before Shabbos, so then it's like it's like a grama, right? Best it's a grama, and worse it's a grama. So therefore, and grama is the rabbanon. But if the water was not flowing before Shabbos, and he turns the water flow on Shabbos, then even Magen Avram would see that it's a deraisa. Because immediately it begins to grind as it is as you turn it on, and if there is other grain underneath it, perhaps there was a chiyuv chatas even Kohen Magavra. I'm not sure what other grain has to do with it. In any event, I don't think there's quite much halacha ma'isa. Yud. Somebody allowed to sell if we had this an object non-Jew immediately before nightfall. And to put the object on the non-Jew's shoulder, al chamoro, or on his donkey. Vachesi pesel basing the yom as long as he leaves the opening of your house from before nightfall. Now, which he's carrying the object of just around the chutz or outside the 2,000 amos, they say, it's no longer a problem. Sheshlo belongs to him. But if he didn't leave your house from before Shabbos began, Ela Shabbos, it's forbidden for two reasons. Because the primary kinyan takes place, or kinyan primarily takes place when he leaves your house. Furthermore, the roa is sober. Somebody sees his things. Shemach Shabbos, and the sale took place on Shabbos. Therefore, even if there's a city which has an Erev, sometimes it's forbidden for this reason. Some people if he designated a spot for him in his house at the time of the sale. Since that means that he was cleaning in the house and then he's allowed to leave even on Shabbos. I'm sorry. But that only works for the kinyan. For the Marisayin, Shemachalo b'Shabbos, it seems there's no Shabbos, Lamani said that's not going to work. Times it goes around Perak Vav, Evin Vav, Le'el Simulation Vav. The Rambam is one who's concerned with this suspicion. The Chini Yishlach Mir, it's proper to be stringent, B'chol Gavni, no matter what. So Gol V'Shas Chak can only be lenient if it's a great necessity and it is a Shas Chak. O Shakuna Elaim, O Shakuna Alam, or if the buyer is a violent person. Was there Shatir feel Bloichin Mokom, then we can not even designate a place in Chai Gavno when it's dangerous, but not make a decree. For Roy Lischak, he says it's best to distance oneself from making the sales right before Shabbos. The Din Lahashilo Keli or Laskilo, in terms of loaning him a vessel or renting it out to him, is what I'm saying, Reshman Vav, Ayin Sham, we already learned that. Mr. Bura writes that also that another variation on the theme of the problem is that it should not look like the Jew directed him to remove it from his house, presumably to a place where there's no Erev. Bialach writes, if the non-Jew leaves the object by the Jew's house and he comes late at night, then to take it, so he can be leaning b'shas adchak, give it to him, even if he's not a violent person. And then the suspicion is not as great. Yurav.
What are we going to? Gimel.
Yeah. And you can give your garments to a non-Jewish launderer, and your hides to a tanner who's going to tan them. Erev Shabbos Erev Shabbos adjacent nightfall. As long as that person leaves your house with them before the Shabbos begins. You can determine with him the price. B'kablonos says, as a contract. They take so and so much for each garment or each leather, each hide. Of course, you should tell him to wash them on Shabbos. And the non-Jew should be working in his house. And if it's known how much the price is, the standard price, it's as if you set the price explicitly. Zman azeh kalim lekoives. In our day and age, when you give the clothing to a launderer, clothes to a cleaner, you still might exceed. So it's by default, it's assumed that it is the price has been set. W it's spelled well known. Said to me, especially this is the launderer used all the time. Every time you have to make a new agreement on the price. If the widespread custom is you give vessels to a launderess, Erev Shabbos immediately before nightfall, without specifying a price, because the price is known. Sending with hides to a tanner. Imo said, so if he's your tanner kavua. And they already stipulated that this is what the price of each and every hide. Shogli given him generically. The Mishnah says, if you say to the launderer, look, I need a Motzei Shabbos, such as where you're leaving town Motzei Shabbos, that's also even stipulated, because he's definitely going to do a Shabbos. Because since you can't finish it unless you do a Shabbos, as if you told him explicitly, do it on Shabbos, and he's like your agent. And that is asur, even if it's several days prior. I guess if it's known that he's going to do it specifically on Shabbos. I mean, if he must do it on Shabbos, I should say. Yud Beis. Find his brother saying Reish Mem Zayin. The Bechol Tzitzas Mekach. Anytime you stipulate the price, answer Shalom Kama Yitain Lo. You don't have to say how much you're going to give him. If you stipulate, you're going to pay him. That's enough. Do so because the contractor assumes he's going to pay him properly. But now he's doing it on his own initiative, so to speak. Bir Lalocha wants to say that that even though he didn't specify how much he's going to give him, but he promised to give him the appropriate fee, or that he made some sort of agreement with him. Therefore, the non-Jew is confident and knows he's going to pay him, and that's as if he stipulated. But if the Jew says generically he's going to pay him, that's not the same thing as stipulating, because non-Jew doesn't know how much he's going to give him. Maybe he's going to give him a very small amount. As long as that's where everything has, almost everything has prices, I don't think that's an issue. Yud Beis. No, we already did that. That's what we just did. No, we didn't do basic. You base, guys. Why have seen Reish Mem Zayin? No, we just did that. We're going with million base. Sorry. Also, if you're not paying him at all, non-Jew's working for you because he owes you a favor. Should give a man what you receive. Not going to have a cut. It's also if you stipulated. So if it I did not should cover it. Finally, now he's doing it on his own intent. The Bishul Chatoivish give him a soul because he got this favor from the Jew. He's not doing it for free. And he looks, he's anticipating a payment. The Lodi Berimah didn't speak. Even though you have a mind to pay him, also it's forbidden because then he's doing it like your agent, like we wrote over there. The Ramah writes that some say that when he does it for free, even for a Toba Sanoah, it's no good. And the Mishnah Berurah writes that the Darkei Moshe is masking to that chumrah, unless the non-Jew himself initiated a transaction with the Jew and said, "I'll do it for you for free," because then definitely he has in mind the benefit he got in the past, and then it's as if he stipulated. Yukimo Yilokatzas, he didn't stipulate also the Taylor Erev Shabbos. Now the Erev Shabbos and King Yesh Shol Shabbos Yom, unless it's time for him to do it before Shabbos begins. But otherwise, also that's the Rambam. Feel beyond Rishon. You don't have to give it to Rambam. Not give it to Rambam. So that's going to Rambam even to give it on Sunday. Made shows to come on Shabbos if you can't finish it by Shabbos. Rabbeinu Ramah Pasuk Leelsim and Reish Mem Zayin Kedas Achokim Al Rambam. He holds that on Sunday, on the beginning of the week it's okay. Say that even say the Arukh HaShulchan mutter. Even on Wednesday or Thursday it's okay. Apple cuts even there was stipulated price. If you only yochel garment cut on Shabbos, he can't complete it for Shabbos. Shrei Eino Omer Lo Sos Shabbos. Give it to him early enough. It's not as if he tells him to do work on Shabbos. But Erev Shabbos only because him action of Shabbos. Mechzei Koim Lo Las of Shabbos looks like he tells him to do on Shabbos. V'Av Gat Yivigeres Lo Eitir Shomachai Gavna. Correction Muchrach. Even though by letter he didn't allow this unless this is the compelling circumstance. Zem Neder Shom Kshu Olech. That's because there when he goes. B'chol Yom, when he goes every day, I guess when he goes into, he makes deliveries every day. So as if he told him to go on Shabbos. Conscious of the base, but here where he's working at home, he's still ain't afkamina Messiah Seh, and according to the Jew, makes no difference when he's going to do it. Mutter b'chol inyan, it's mutter no matter what.